Mr. Speaker, now we know why President Trump wanted this Prime Minister to win so much, so he would be against a weak leader whose tax and anti-development policies are driving billions of dollars in jobs to the United States. Yesterday, the Prime Minister promised President Trump $1 trillion of investment in the coming years if we get the deal we want. That is investment that will leave Canada, driving mines and paper mills and factories out of Canada, leaving families without work. Why didn't the Prime Minister negotiate an end to the softwood lumber tariffs instead of offering this gift? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Things aren't getting off to an auspicious start today. Okay, the Right Honourable Prime Minister from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, this is another moment to give a little economic lesson to the Leader of the Opposition. The Canadian and American economies are closely aligned, and I gave such a lesson to the President of the U.S. yesterday. I said that what is at risk is Canadian investment into the United States if we do not get a real detail. We will get a deal, however, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he could certainly give lessons on driving investment out of Canada and into the United States because he has already managed to drive $54 billion worth of investment into the United States. This killed 86,000 jobs. Households are suffering from this. People are sitting around the dinner table wondering how they are going to pay their bills. And since this Prime Minister took power, American softwood lumber tariffs have doubled. Here's the question. After giving the Americans a $54 billion gift, has he negotiated an end to the softwood lumber tariffs? Yes or no? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the current situation is as follows. We have the best agreement with the Americans in the world. We are still negotiating further gains in major sectors, including softwood lumber, and we will only accept the best deal on softwood lumber.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, we now know why the U.S. President wanted this Prime Minister in power so badly, a weak leader whose high taxes and anti-development laws are sending billions of dollars and thousands of jobs out of this country. 86,000 jobs lost. And yesterday, the Prime Minister promised the President that he would increase Canadian investment in the U.S. by $1 trillion if he gets the agreement that he expects to get. Mr. Speaker, in exchange for $1 trillion of job losses in Canada, will he at least get an end to the U.S. auto tariffs that are killing jobs for our workers in Ontario?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have the best deal in the world with the Americans. First point. Second point, the President of the United States and myself had a meeting of minds yesterday with respect to the future of the steel sector, the aluminum sector, the energy sector in cooperation, which is why our teams are negotiating the terms of those deals. And we are working, as the President himself said in the Oval Office, on the modalities of an auto agreement.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he just confirmed he's selling out our auto workers. And let me tell him what it means when investment leaves this country, because he was forced a record amount out in his 7 months in power. The 700 workers at the GM plant who lost their jobs in Oshawa, they can tell him about investment that is left. They're sitting around the dinner table wondering how they're going to pay their bills while GM announces $4 billion of new investment south of the border. So while the Prime Minister promises yet another trillion-dollar gift to President Trump, why doesn't he look them at those workers in the eye and explain to them why he betrayed them?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what this government is doing for the auto sector is an unprecedented investment in the Canadian auto sector. We look the Canadian auto workers in the eye. We have $5 billion in the Strategic Response Fund. We have $10 billion for liquidity management. We have worker retraining. We are striking deals with countries around the world. We have the best deal already with the Americans, and it will be even better.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we'll go soft on him today because I know he's still recovering from surgery to have his elbows removed. Remember that promise, Mr. Speaker? Dancing around with his elbows in the air. We haven't seen those elbows since the election, after which $54 billion of investment gone to the United States. 86,000 jobs gone. American tariffs on Canada doubled. And as to the best deal in the world, why is it then we have the best deal that Canada has the fastest shrinking economy in the G7 and 86,000 people are without a job?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Okay. All right. Mr. Speaker, there are three things that are true. First is, I realized long before the Leader of the Opposition, long before the last election, you remember the last election? Long before the last election, that our relationship with the United States would never again be what it was. Secondly, thing that is true is we have the best deal with the Americans. And the third thing that's true is we will get an even better deal because we
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Canadians do remember the last election where that Prime Minister promised to put elbows up. It was not a promise, it was the promise that he ran on. Now those elbows have come down, the American tariffs have doubled, we have by far the weakest economy in the G7, 86,000 people have lost their jobs, and the Prime Minister went pathetically to the White House to offer a $1 trillion gift, bowing before the President in weakness. $1 trillion, Mr. Speaker. Speaking of the last election, where in his platform did he promise to give $1 trillion of our investment dollars to the Americans?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to inform the Leader of the Opposition that there is a thing called the private sector. The private sector makes decisions about investment. The private sector does the best deal in the world, will invest in this country, and we will build Canada strong.
Believe in Canada? This Liberal Prime Minister won't even pay taxes in Canada, Mr. Speaker. Once those investment dollars go to the U.S., they don't come back. Just look at TC Energy. That used to be called TransCanada Energy until they had to drop the word Canada because they can't get anything built in this country. They just put $8.5 billion to work in the U.S. The Prime Minister said during the election, anyone who worships at the altar of Donald Trump will kneel before him, not stand up to him. Yesterday, he knelt there like a pylon while the President skated all around him. Did he get an end to U.S. tariffs in return?
Speaker, one day after the Prime Minister's visit to the White House, the U.S. Commerce Secretary has announced that there will be no relief on tariffs for finished automobiles in Canada. This after 700 Oshawa GM workers lost their jobs and GM sent $4 billion to the U.S.
I apologize for interrupting the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, but apparently the interpretation is not working, so I'll allow them. Is it back on? C'est bon? It's good? So from the top, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition from the top.
One day after the Prime Minister met at the White House, promising that he would fight for Canadian workers, we learned from the U.S. Commerce Secretary that there will be no relief for Canadian finished automobiles. This after 700 Oshawa GM workers lost their jobs with $4 billion of GM money going to the U.S. 900 CAMI workers in Ingersoll losing their jobs with those jobs going to the U.S. and 150 workers at Stellantis being sent home while $8 billion of Stellantis money goes to the U.S. The Prime Minister failed to stand up for auto workers yesterday. Will he do so now?
The Honourable... The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Watch your pressure. He's the Prime Minister. You can call him.
Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that the Prime Minister and the President had a very productive discussion yesterday on steel, on aluminum, on energy for the benefit of the Canadian economy, and on auto. I remind my colleague of the President's words. We want Canada to do well making cars, so we will get there. Mr. Speaker, I encourage the Leader of the Opposition to take a look at even Ford Canada in my riding of Oakville and to realize that on this side of the House we are building.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Prime Minister refused to stand up for our auto workers, and today he refuses to stand up for our auto workers. How can he sit right there while the U.S. Commerce Secretary just came out and said the 25% tariffs will stay in place? Despite the Prime Minister's concession after concession, he backed down on counter tariffs, back down on the DST. Yesterday offered $1 trillion of Canadian investment money, and still he can't win anything from our auto workers. What does he say to those thousands of auto workers that are out of work because of his weakness?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what we have at this point with the United States for the auto sector is the lowest tariff in the world, less than 10%, lower than Europe, lower than Korea, lower than Japan. We have the lowest tariff, and we are still negotiating because, as the President said yesterday, the Prime Minister of Canada is a tough negotiator. We will get a great deal.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, give me $1 trillion and even I will say something nice about this guy. Oh my God. How much is it going to cost to pay Canadian investment dollars to flatter this Prime Minister's ego? Yep. It would make you laugh if it didn't make you cry, Mr. Speaker. But for the workers in Ingersoll, in Windsor, and in Oshawa who have lost their jobs after the Prime Minister promised to protect them, how will they ever trust this Prime Minister again after he betrayed them?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Just a moment. The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, one thing that Canadians know from Ingersoll to Windsor to Oakville to Oshawa is that on this side of the House, we will not let Canadians down. We have the strategic fund putting billions of dollars to support auto workers and the auto sector. We
pathetic that the Prime Minister will not stand up for auto workers in this House of Commons, just like he refused to stand up for them yesterday. We have thousands of auto workers who have lost their jobs since this Prime Minister promised to protect them. These families are sitting around their tables wondering what is going to happen to them. They are among the 86,000 Canadians who've lost their jobs, leading to the second highest unemployment of any country in the G7. We have record lineups at food banks, and this Prime Minister is giving away $1 trillion investment dollars to the U.S. while people here can't even pay their bills. Why won't he stand up now?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, we will take no lessons from the Conservatives on standing up for Canadian businesses and Canadian workers. Every opportunity that they have to vote in favor of Canadians, whether it's pharmacare, whether it's dental care, whether it's the Canada Child Benefit, they vote against. And on this side of the House, whether it's the auto sector, whether it's energy, whether it's steel, whether it's aluminum, we will get the best deal for this country, and we will always be there for Canadians, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I think we're beginning to see how it is that the President has been able to bulldoze over this Prime Minister. He won't even stand up when he is confronted by the Americans. Just over an hour ago, a report came out that the U.S. Commerce Secretary said there will be no relief for Canadian-made automobiles going into the United States. The Prime Minister is back down on counter tariffs, back down on the DST, back down on defense. Yesterday promised to push $1 trillion of private sector investment out of our country. How is he going to look those Canadian auto workers in the eye and tell them how he got nothing for them in return?
Yeah. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it is a sad day in this House when the Leader of the Opposition suggests that standing up for the defense of this country, when the Leader of the Opposition suggests that spending to defend our borders, that spending to defend our fulfillment in NATO, that is backing down on defense. Shame. Now, we have the lowest tariff on autos of...
Speaker, come on, we can't even hear anything.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, at least he finally got up, but he didn't address the question about auto workers. There are auto workers who are sitting at home right now who do not know how they're going to pay their mortgages. This Prime Minister looked them in the eye and said he was going to protect their jobs. And then he said he would put his elbows up. And then he said he would get a win by July 21st. Then he said that he would have a deal. There's been no deal. There's been no win, and now for these workers, there is no job. Today we learned that he's backing down again on auto tariffs. Why is it that he's selling out our auto workers at a time when they need him most?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we...
Come on, Mr. Speaker, listen to this.
Japan, the European Union, the United Kingdom, every other country in the world is paying a higher tariff than Canada has gotten on automobiles. And we are not done. That is why we have not signed an accord on autos. That is why we are fighting hard for our auto workers. And I put the President on notice yesterday about the consequences of not having that accord.
Okay. Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. President, you have been warned. If you put in another tariff, he's going to give you yet another $1 trillion. This is the tough negotiator that we hired? The guy who broke his promise to have a deal on July 21st. A guy who broke his promise to negotiate a win, who simultaneously removed the counter tariffs while he was giving speeches promising to have them in place, and yesterday offered more concessions to the U.S. president, knowing that the tariffs that are killing our auto sector would stay in place. Why does he always back down and give our jobs to the Americans instead of standing up for Canada?
I just want to make sure we're ready before we go to the... The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, and I think it's important for the entire House to understand that we have a strategy with the United States that means that our auto sector is paying less than 10% tariff. When Japan, when Europe, when the UK, when the rest of the world is paying 15, which is bigger than 10 or higher. And we are not done yet because we refuse to sign a deal that isn't better in the interests of Canadians. And that's why
the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, he is already signing a deal that makes us worse off because he makes concession after concession after concession while getting nothing in return. Yesterday, he announced that his policies will drive $1 trillion of private sector money out of our country as part of the agreement that he is going to sign with the United States. That means factories and plants closing in Canada. Most of all in our auto sector, which is on the verge of being wiped out after he promised to save it. So can he tell me, did he demand the president lift all tariffs on Canadian autos, yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our agreement yesterday, the President and myself, is to focus now on steel, on aluminum, on energy, the building blocks of our broader competitiveness, including our auto sector. Those negotiations on autos continue from a position that is the strongest in the world. 10 is less than 15, which is less than 25, which is less than 50.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Zero is the paycheck that those workers who've lost their jobs are getting right now. And Mr. Speaker, 7th is last place in the G7 when it comes to growth, or in this case, negative growth. This Prime Minister has to get his excuses straight. He blames the tariffs for the fact that we have the second highest unemployment in the G7 and the fastest shrinking economy. And then he claims at the same time that the tariffs are really not so bad. So which is it? Why is our economy so weak? Because of his diplomatic failings abroad or his disastrous economic policies at home?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I've been saying all this year, long before the Leader of the Opposition caught up, the U.S. has fundamentally changed its trading policy with everyone. It is a rupture. In that environment, Canada has the best deal. But what we are doing is controlling what we can control, which is building Canada strong. November 4th, that side of the House is going to have a chance of whether they're going to build alongside Canadians a generational investment in an ambitious future for our country.
Mr. Speaker, on the other hand, this minister is not a new member, and so she should know her own record. 86,000 job losses under this Prime Minister alone. Canada has the worst youth employment rate in over 25 years. Job numbers come out again this Friday, and the situation continues to get grimmer. Witnesses at our parliamentary public hearings on youth unemployment were very clear yesterday. It isn't a wealth distribution problem, it's a wealth creation problem. And the Prime Minister wants to send another $1 trillion to the United States. Why is he breaking his promises and continuing to ship jobs south of the border?